a journey 200 years back in history to explore the violence and rebellion of the French Revolution.
1789, the French working class are poor and can hardly afford to buy food, and only making things worse was the huge tax placed by the government on crops. Basically, feeding a family was very hard for a working class man or a peasant at the time. Meanwhile, the aristocrats in their mansions and palaces, including King Louis XVI and Queen Marie Antoinette, stuffed themselves with a seemingly endless supply of food of every variety. So while most of the population starved to death right outside the palace walls, Marie Antoinette concerned herself with expensive jewelry and keeping up with the latest fashions. This obviously did not make her a very popular person among the French population. On July 14, 1789, a rebellious army raided an armory which had been a symbol of French monarchy. So began the violence of the French Revolution. While violent protests and palace raids took place across the country, a new group of people had begun meeting to form a French constitution and limit the power of the king. Eventually, the violence paid off for the French rebels, and in 1792, the king was forced to give up most of his power to the new French Assembly. Well, on August 10, 1792, the king and queen were arrested. And on January 21, 1793, King Louis XVI was executed for conspiring against public liberty. On October 16th of the same year, his wife followed. Now, even with the king and queen dead, Maximilien Robespierre, a lawyer and writer who had helped fuel the revolution, didn't want to take any chances, so he started something known as the Reign of Terror. During this time, Robespierre went around arresting anyone he thought might have had a problem with the French democracy. Overall, there were 16,594 documented trials, followed by execution at the guillotine, and possibly as many as 25,000 others were killed in prisons or without trial. After about a year of all that, and most of the French aristocracy dead or in hiding, the terror came to an end. With August 22, 1795, a new constitution was passed, and France now had a Congress of 755 people. Unfortunately, they were corrupt and often violated the Constitution. This corruption eventually led people to distrust democracy and brought a single leader, Napoleon Bonaparte, to power. On November 9, 1799, Napoleon was named Emperor of France, officially ending the French Revolution. In the short term, the French Revolution tore down a tyrannical monarchy and gave a voice to the people of France, which was eventually drowned out by calls for what was essentially another French monarchy. But in the vast view of world history, the French Revolution narrowed the gap in between the rich and the poor of France and paved the way for the equality of all citizens.